Welcome to the last week of Language and Computers. This is the week that we're going to look at the impact of language technology on society. If you remember, at the beginning of the course, we talked about the big question for this class, which is, can AI be inclusive of all ways of speaking all languages? In other words, can AI technology handle all the dialects, all the variations of each individual speaking all the languages of the world, of which there are over 7,000. And I said at the beginning in one of the very first videos that there's two possible meanings to this question, and we're going to explore both. But we're going to stick with the first meaning for most of the course and hit the second meaning more intently at the end. So now we've come to that point. So what are those two meanings? So I've underlined the word can there, and this is a bit of a stretch, but I think you'll see where I'm going here, that there are two meanings of can. In fact, all of our quote-unquote modal verbs in English language, so can, the subjunctive version of that, which is could, might, should, ought, etc., have these two meanings. And once you see them, it makes sense. We're aware of them, but there's a reason why they get combined into one word. So if you want the technical definition of these two meanings, one is epistemic. This is the meaning of can that refers to knowledge and belief. So this is the meaning that comes out when you say, can I be excused, and someone corrects you. You actually don't mean it in the epistemic. And that's what they're correcting you. When they say, for example, well, I don't know, can you be excused? They're making a joke and saying, I don't know. Are you able to get up out of the table? That's the epistemic meaning, right? What they're maybe being a little pedantic, will say to you is what you should say is, may I be excused? And they're going after the second meaning, which is what you actually used in the word can, which is involving permission and obligation. Is it okay? Am I permitted or am I obliged maybe to be excused? And you were asking the question with can, which is, am I permitted to be excused, right? So the fact that you're able to say, can I be excused, and mean, may I be excused, but also the fact that it can be misunderstood as only can as an ability, do I have the legs and the physical motor skills to get up, indicates that both of those meanings are in that word can. So those are the two meanings. So epistemic involving what's actually possible, maybe physically possible, or what we believe to be possible as humans. And the deontic, which is what is permitted or obliged to happen. I almost said should, but should could also work that way. I was in the drive-thru the other day, and someone was talking about the young man who got up on the traffic light after UF won the Final Four, the final championship, and bounced up and down and then fell off. And the person working the drive-thru said, well, they should have died. And actually, to tell you the truth, by the way they were talking, I couldn't tell which meaning they meant. I was like, do you mean the epistemic? Like, if a person jumps up and down on a traffic light, they should expect to die? That's the knowledge or belief about the world. Or do you mean it in like the permission or obligation, in the sense that anybody stupid enough to do something like that ought to be dead? Like, that would be the right thing, that the consequences of a stupid action would be death. I actually couldn't tell which one they were using, because it was combined in both of those words. So this is common in many words. So we can think of it as this way. If you ask the question in one, is it possible? Is the capability there? So can AI handle all languages? Is the capability there? Is it possible? Or is it important to happen? Is there a social or ethical, maybe moral obligation that it should happen, or that somebody should make it happen? So most of the semester we've spent on the first meaning, right? Is it possible to come up with enough character, enough numbers, enough binary codes to represent all the characters in all writing systems for all languages in Unicode? Turns out, yes, there is. And you may remember that I said that's the only thing this whole semester that we're going to have a definite answer to this question. It is possible. But that doesn't answer the question, is it a good thing? Should we have that? So most of the semester we looked at whether these things are possible, and we looked at how they do what they do to get about understanding of being able to answer the question, is it possible? And you should have a better understanding now, no matter what major you are, on whether or not it is possible. And we've hit a little bit more and more as we've gone through the semester, but kind of hints here and there about, first of all, whether AI actually does handle, and for the most case, other than Unicode, it doesn't handle very many languages beyond English with any level of usefulness. Secondly, is it even possible, even if we could do it? Or even if there was the data out there or the desire for it to happen. But that still leaves a question, should we do it? So this week we're going to look just at that. And I'm not giving you any answers because I don't have an answer to this question. And we're mostly going to raise more questions by looking at the implications of whether or not we did have AI that handled other languages, or looking at some of the things that make it difficult and maybe make this a more complex question than you might think. So that's what we're going to look at this week. So it's the 1 week we focus on that second meeting 100%. So I hope you enjoy it.